Okay, guys, we're gonna do a little story time. Okay, we're gonna do. Um, we're gonna do a little story time. Um, mm, mm, mm. So I'm originally from New York, and I have 3 kids, and my kids are grown. And I decided when I had my last child, which is my son, that you'll find him mostly in my videos. But I'll put up. I'll put up. And when I had him, I decided to leave New York and come to Virginia. And I did that because I didn't want to raise a boy child in New York, because I already knew how New York was. I already knew what I was growing up around. And I was like, when I had my son, I was like, oh no, I'm getting up out of here. So I did that. I got my son, got my girls, and we came here to Virginia. We've been here for we've been here like 14 years now. That's how long we've been here. And then when we got here, my goal was I didn't want to talk to anybody when I got here. I just wanted to focus on me. Me, my new start, my kids, and my future. And I didn't want to talk to anybody because I was like, and when I mean talk to anybody, I mean like relationships, because I heard like, I feel like if I got involved with somebody, that was going to hold me back. That was going to hold me back from doing what I needed to do. Well, I went back on everything I said I wanted to do. So let's fast forward. I get here. There was this guy. There was this guy that lived next door to me. Right? And we're going to call him Tommy. Right? We're going to call him Tommy. And Tommy had locks in his hair. Right? Tommy had locks in his hair. And I got a thing for men who got locks. I have a thing for men who are dark skinned. Right? So my kids didn't come with me when I first got here. I came by myself because my mom was like, you know, go ahead, get yourself together, and then let the kids finish school out here. And then when my school is finished, you come get them. So while they was there in New York finishing up school, I was here in Virginia getting stuff together. And I used to always look out my window, and I always see Tommy leave out and come back, right? But Tommy lived with a female. Yep, Tommy lived with a female. And I was like, he looked good. So my friend, I remember being on the phone with my friend from New York. We're going to call her Tasha. Right? So Tasha was like, girl, didn't you say he lived with a woman? I was like, yeah. I see a woman coming in and out with him. Also see kids coming out the house. I was like, girl, I don't care about none of that. I was like, he look good. I want him, and he gonna be mine. Watch what I tell you, right? So Tasha was like, girl, you crazy. Because you don't know. She was like, you don't know if that's his wife or his girlfriend. You don't know who that is. And I was like, baby, girl, I know I don't care who that is. Right? Now, just think about it. I'm fresh from New York and Virginia. So I still have a New York mentality. And the mentality that I have is like, it was, I don't care. I don't care. Anyway, moving forward, I just always peep out my window, looking at Tommy. Right? So one day, it's something stuck in my teeth. So one day, no. By the time I met Tommy, my kids had already came down to Virginia. School was out in New York, and I went to go pick them up. And my kids ain't like Tommy. Let's just say that. They cannot stand Tommy. My girls, they did not like Tommy. But my boy, he had a great relationship with Tommy, right? So how me and Tommy wound up clicking together is because Tommy had a dog. And Tommy had this ex-girlfriend that he said they were just friends. We're going to get into that. He said that they were just friends. So my girls was outside playing, and Tommy's dog had bit my daughter. And they knocked on my door. My daughter came in the house. She was hollering and screaming. She was like, ah! So I was like, what's wrong? And he like, the neighbor's dog next door bit me. I was hot. Now, look at me. The neighbor's dog. I was like, come on. We going to over here. I need to find out what you're talking about. Anyway, So the neighbor, when I went over there, the lady answered the door. And she was like, oh, that's my brother's dog. And I'm so sorry what happened. But when my brother get in, I'll have my brother come knock on your door. So the lady that me and my friend thought, so the lady that me and my friend thought was his girlfriend, she was actually his friend, right? She was actually his friend. So he came home and he knocked on my door and he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, that, what happened. And he broke down how his dog got all his shot. His dog was, was straight or whatever. And if I need anything, please let him know. Yada, yada, yada. Right? So I was like, okay. But the whole time, Tommy talking to me, Tommy giving me googly eyes, right? He giving me googly eyes. I started giving him googly eyes back because I was like, I've been watching him for a minute. So this is my cue right here. Right? So I go outside one day and I take my trash out. And I run into Tommy. And he was like, hey, how you doing? He was like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? I was like, I don't think my daughter's doing fine. Thanks for asking or whatever. So he was like, telling me about how Virginia is and, stuff like that. And he would like to take me out on a date. So I'm like, you want to take me out on a date? And he was like, yeah. So I was being funny. I was like, what's your girlfriend gonna think about it? So he was like, my girlfriend. I was like, yeah. The female you stay with. He was like, that's not my girlfriend. He like, that's my people's. I was like, oh. I had to clarify. Right? Even though she had already said that was her brother. I still had to clarify on what the fuck I was getting myself into. Right? So, he was like, that's my, he was like, that was his friend. And he was like, they're from New York. And I was like, oh, for real? You from New York? And he was like, yeah. So we're going to fast forward. Me and Tommy started getting closer. We started dating. We started to get real, real close. Hanging out. And he started coming by my house. And we was Gucci. I started getting close with the lady that he was living with. I started getting close with her. My kids started getting close with her kids and stuff like that. And he started helping me learn my way around Virginia. Long story short, I had asked Tommy, did he have a girlfriend? Because I ain't into dating nobody's wife, nobody's girlfriend. I ain't into breaking up nobody's happy Nobody's happy home. Tommy was like, no. He was like, no. I'm going to have to cut that out. He was like, no. So I was like, okay, cool. So I just went forward with it because I was like, he ain't got no girlfriend. Oh, Tommy did have a girlfriend. So remember the dog? The dog who bit my daughter. Tommy and this girl shared a dog together. They act like that was their kid. And they would share the dog. The dog would come over to Tommy's house sometime. And the dog actually lived with the girl. So it was a year that went by. Me and Tommy still talking. We still kicking it or whatever. And Tommy moves out. Because he wound up moving in my house. He moves out. Right? And he's like, I was in school. Because when I moved down here to Virginia, I started going to school. To be a nurse. So Tommy calls me while I was at school and was like, yeah, I don't think, I'm going to be going with you and the kids to the new house. So I was like, I was confused. I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, I just think I'm going to just go stay with my friend until things get better with us. I was really, really confused because we didn't have no issues. So I was confused. I was like, we ain't have no issues. So I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. So he was going to go stay with a friend. So I was like, okay, whatever. So he didn't even have the respect of telling me or anything how he was moving out, when he was moving out, nothing. So I goes to sign my lease. I come home that night and all Tommy clothes was gone. I mean, down to the hangers, down to the extension cords that he had plugged up in a wall. I was so freaking confused. So I was hurt. I was real hurt because I was really nice to him. I was genuine to him. And, I moved down to this state and I was like, oh, he was so nice. He was so genuine. He helped me around. He was good with my son, and he just picked up and just left. So I ain't hear from Tommy for like almost 2 weeks or whatever. So close by, there was a barbershop that was close by my house. And I took my son to this barbershop and I walked into the barbershop. Mind you, Tommy is gone. He took his clothes, he's gone. I went to the barbershop and I asked the owner, I was like, hey, who's the owner? The owner told me who he was, and I was like, who's your best barber? And he was like, I can cut your son here. Storytime part 2 is a conclusion of the barber. If you want to know what happened with the barber, comment down below, because the barber has a lot to do with this story that I'm telling right now. So the barber was like, I can cut your son here. So the barber continues to cut my son here, yada, yada, yada. And then he starts asking me all these questions. Was that my son? And I answered him. Was I married? I answered him. Did I have a boyfriend? I answered him. So the barber goes, a pretty young lady like you, and, you know, you're single. And he was like, you know, if you were my woman, I would have you would be married. You shouldn't be walking around here single. When I tell you story 2, when I tell you story time part 2 about the barber, and you go back to listen to what I'm saying right now, I swear to you, I promise you, your mouth gonna drop. Your mouth is gonna drop about the barber. So, barber was like, do you have anybody, or you see anybody? I was like, no. So the barber he was like, could he take me out on a date? I wouldn't let the barber take me out on a date because I felt like I still had unfinished business with Tommy, right? It's only fair. Close the door before you open up something new, right? That's what my mother always told me. Close one door before you open up another door. Days go by, weeks go by, minutes go by, hours go by, seconds go by. Tommy doesn't come back. So I started getting more acquainted with the barber because I kept taking my son there to get his hair done. Right? Kept taking my son there to get his hair done. And the barber, I wound up moving to where I said I was going. I wound up moving. And me and the barber, we went out like on a couple of dates or whatever. It was nothing serious, you know. Tommy, all of a sudden, wants to pop back up and start calling again. And I was like, oh, Lord. So, what my dumb behind did, I left Jeff alone. Jeff is the barber. Jeff is the barber, right? I left Jeff alone. Cause I was like, I still love Tommy. I still wanted to be with Tommy. My kids, that's who my kids knew. That's who I knew. That's who I was comfortable with. And that, so forth. So I left Tommy alone. I left Jeff alone. And I never heard, I told Jeff, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be very honest with you. You know, as I told you, I have something going on. And this person came back in the picture. I don't want you to get mixed up in it. I don't want you to get hurt. So let me just close that chapter completely before I try to bring somebody else around. Because I'm not into hurting nobody because I don't want to be hurt. I know how it feels to be hurt. So, I know how it feels to be hurt. So, I don't hear from Jeff no more. I cut that off, you know. There's no more of that. There's no more of that going on. And Tommy moves back in. Tommy's back at the house. Yada, yada, yada. Remember the dog, right? Okay. So, my daughter goes outside and she's like, Mom, My daughter goes takes the garbage outside. And she's like, Mom, there's this lady outside asking for Tommy. So I was like, what? She was like, yeah. Now, at the time, I wasn't thinking of nothing. We was in the kitchen, and I was just doing my own little thing. I ain't think nothing of it. You know, I know most of y'all would have been like, what you talking about? A woman is outside. What you talking about? Right? Most of y'all would have ran behind Tommy to find out who was this woman at your front door talking about you looking for your man, right? I didn't care. Right? My mother used to always say, what goes in the wash gonna come out in the rinse. Right? So Tommy goes outside to check this female. Tommy comes back in the house and I'm like, I just said a simple matter of fact, I didn't even say nothing to Tommy. I just looked at him and he just started crying. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what in the world are you talking about? Right? Hey, whatever the woman said to Tommy, it led Tommy to come back in the house to tell me the truth about this woman. So when Tommy told me the truth was it was a female that he was dealing with before I came here to Virginia. And he was with her at the time. He was with her for like 5 years. If I can remember. I don't remember, but he was with her for like 5 years. And somehow, some way, she found out where I live. And he was telling me who she was or whatever the case may be. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't you tell me that it was like done? Like, and that's when all of the beans was spilled. Well, I'm going to just say this. Tommy never stopped seeing her and brought me into this triangle love affair. Tommy was living with me and was sneaking off with her and kept telling her that he was going to leave me and come be with him. Come be with her. And I guess Tommy was taking too long to come live with her, and she just felt like, I'm going to just pop up at your house anytime I want, or knock at your door anytime that I want. And where I come from, baby, that's what you don't do, is knock on somebody's door. That's what you don't do, is knock on somebody's door. And guess what? Knock on my door. Because you knock on my door? Oh, baby, we got a whole problem now. A whole problem. Because it ain't even about you and that person now. It's about me and you. Because I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? Don't come knocking on my door. When that nigga come to your house and you see him, you check him then. You don't come to my door. She came to my door once. She came to my door twice. She came to my door 3 times. I said, you come back again, it's going to be a problem. So let's just say this carried on for 4 years. But Tommy has never left my house. He was always at my house. Because Tommy knew he couldn't be at my house. And Tommy knew if he stayed with me, he couldn't sneak around with her. But Tommy knew that if he was with her, he could sneak around with me. I wasn't about to play them games. Because, first of all, no. Just what we not about to do. So, all of this, you know, all this chaos and drama, only thing I could think about was, Dad, I done pushed my nice friend to the side. I should have just kept Tommy where he was at. But you know what? Life happens, stuff happens, things happen. So let's just say years go by. I put Tommy out. I got tired of the back and forth, the yada, yada, yada. I got tired of it. Tommy eventually gone for good. Tommy kept calling, kept begging, kept pleading, wanting to come back. And I was just like, no. Because, no. If I don't stop this, then it's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. And I was like, no, that's not what we're about to do. So, Tommy winds up being with her, just strictly being with her. I was so miserable because he kept calling my phone. He kept wanting to come back. And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good on all that. So, Tommy went staying with her. And the girl she came to my house a couple of times. She bust Tommy windows out. It just was like a whole freaking mess. So, if you want to hear the rest of what happened with Tommy and how did the barbershop come back into the equation, drop your comments down below and let me know what you want to see. Until next time, in Tisha's room. Peace.